So very good evening and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi. Now tonight, Mari Leg from the African Bloggers Awards is paying us a visit. He will tell us how far they are with the process of selecting winners. We also have Kulufelo Muyaba, the 21-year-old innovation specialist in the technology department of the South African Reserve Bank. In Nigeria, there's Jumia. It's an increasingly popular online store in the country. We are live. You can find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter, News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's start with the technology and social media news. News of the country migrating from analog broadcast to digital television were first announced in 2008. Fast forward 6 years, South Africa still hasn't made digital migration yet. Communications Minister Yunus Karim spoke to Mpho on Question Time to explain reasons for the delay.
The long-awaited digital terrestrial television was set to roll out on April 1st, 2014. These plans have not yet materialized, leaving South Africa lagging behind. Communications Minister Yunus Karim says the country is ready, but qualms between broadcasters and the state are holding it back.
What's holding us up is the endless feuding among the broadcasters and also the manufacturers on whether the set-top box or decoder should have a control mechanism or not. In 2008, the then minister put to cabinet a proposal on digital migration that included decoders of the control system.
Yes.
And that has been government policy.
In his 2014 budget speech, Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan announced that 690 million rand is allocated to the Communications Department to subsidize set-top boxes for poor households.
The money is available. National Treasury is committed to making it available to the Department of Communications.
Karim also says South Africa wants set-top boxes to be manufactured locally. A plant for these is to be built at the Dube Trade Port in Durban.
The full interview is on Question Time with Mpho tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Now, Ericsson South Africa has fired a woman who used the K-word on Facebook. Now, this is the Facebook post that lost the 43-year-old project manager, Vivian Besson, her job. She had been in an accident with a taxi. She then said the death penalty should return to South Africa as a result. After a public outcry, she apologized but tried to justify her use of the racist word. She said it's because she had been a victim of crime in the past. Now, Samsung has released the much-anticipated Galaxy S5 in major markets, including South Africa and Nigeria. The phone is only a moderate improvement from the S4. The S5 has a slightly improved camera, better display and a faster processor. Most retailers are selling it at around the 10,000 Rand margin. There's been an ongoing mobile communication cost debate here in South Africa. Instead of verbally partaking in the talks, a company called Aviat Network is finding out solutions to lessen these apparently high costs. This next insert tells us about their CTR microwave networking platform.
While MTN, Vodacom and ICASA are battling it out in court, other companies such as Aviat Networks are finding conventional ways to lower communication costs in Africa. The international microwave networking specialist Aviat Networks has created a converged transport router that will help mobile operators conserve power. But how does CTR work exactly?
You usually would have an equipment which is called a router, and you'd have for transmission of traffic from one point to another, a transmission equipment. What the CTR does now, it then takes now these two functions, which is the routing function and the transport function, and it merges the two, converges them into a single box. So now you have one box that has the microwave transmission as well as the routing all in one box, and that has lots of benefits. That means you have one box to buy instead of two, so it will save a lot of money for operators.
The CTR not only saves power, but also assists in faster service delivery.
It extends also even into areas where configuring the equipment. That takes a lot of time, to set up the equipment. If you have 2 boxes, you have to set up the first box and you set up the second box. Now you have a single box where you just set up this single box, and it reduces the costs of doing that and helps you deliver services faster.
These are the boxes installed on network towers to monitor communication traffic. The CTR has recently been launched and hasn't been deployed yet.
To West Africa now. According to the Media Foundation for West Africa, Gambia's authoritarian government is said to be interrupting the use of some mobile chat applications. For about a month, citizens have been complaining of interrupted calls whenever they make international calls. The Media Foundation says the government has implemented measures to prevent the use of instant messaging services. It says that Gambia's Ministry of Information Technology is trying to prevent citizens from informing friends and family overseas about the poor state of democracy in the country. The Gambian government denies any involvement in any of the service interruptions. There's been outrage on Twitter over the arrest and disappearance of a man who live tweeted a shootout between Nigeria's State Security Service and militant group Boko Haram. Members of Boko Haram were trying to escape from prison at the time. The hashtag #FreeCXN went viral as angry Nigerians have been making their views heard. CXN is the man's Twitter handle. His real name is Yusuf Onemisi Siyaka. Nigerian newspaper Premium Times is now reporting that the man has been released after 12 days in captivity.
These photographs have gone viral on Twitter. They show members of Nigeria's militant group Boko Haram and the State Security Service battling it out. The tweets say Boko Haram members were breaking out of a secret police headquarters in Abuja on March 30. Some of them were killed in the process. This is the man who took the photographs. His real name is Yusuf Onomisi Siyaka. For 12 days, no one knew where he was. Reports say the State Security Service arrested him. Now the newspaper Premier Times is reporting that he has been released. His arrest could mean Nigeria's government is unhappy about the image of the country that's being portrayed by some citizens in social media. It wouldn't be the first time a government finds what's on Twitter irritating. Recently, Turkey banned the social network.
In our own region about 2 or 3 years ago, when people were organizing food riots in Mozambique, we saw that in fact the government got on the phone to the mobile operators and they said shut your services down because they didn't want people to organize. And it gets to that level.
Another view is that Nigeria could be unhappy about the evidence showing that the government isn't winning the war against Boko Haram.
There's a great deal of paranoia now about Boko Haram because you never know who is Boko Haram because of the franchises and the different groups of people claiming to be part of them. So anything that is suspicious will be dealt with by the government.
The man's arrest has led to the popularity of the hashtag #FreeCXN. Some Nigerians in social media were saying they wonder how many people without Twitter accounts go missing without a trace in their country.
The traffic in Lagos can be a headache when one goes shopping in Nigeria's megacity. So those with internet access are beating it by visiting Jumia. It aims to be Nigeria's biggest online store. There are 2 main reasons people shop online. It's cheaper or they cannot be bothered with a trip to the store. And in Lagos, a city of 21 million people, a trip to the store can kill your entire day. That's where Jumia comes in. It's Nigeria's online retail store that came into existence in May 2012.
The e-commerce model is extremely relevant for Nigeria, especially because of all the hassle that everyone can experience every time they go to a shopping mall.
A shopper can spend 45 minutes on a bad day in a queue of cars, pushing and shoving to try to gain entry into the parking lot of a shopping mall. Jumia already has 100,000 Nigerian accounts. The online store is 33% owned by South African company MTN.
People can just shop from their couch in 20 minutes, order everything they want and get delivered within 24 hours. And now actually we're managing to serve a considerable amount of orders within 24 hours in Lagos.
But they also have to deal with traffic when delivering goods.
It's painful for us, extremely painful for us to navigate through the traffic, but with professional way of navigating it through, it's actually a bit easier than for the Nigerian customer that has to face it during office hours.
Jumia also operates in Morocco, Ivory Coast, Egypt and Kenya. The online store is not yet profitable, but spending heavily to grab market share. An internet bug dubbed Heartbleed is causing a lot of worry. It pokes holes in encrypted codes and hacks into secure servers. It has prompted several tech giants such as Google and Facebook to release software updates to fix the problem.
The Heartbleed bug puts private web information at risk. It threatens passwords and everything they protect. Researchers say users' personal information and bank details could be compromised. When that happens, there's very little internet users can do to protect themselves.
It doesn't leave a trace, so it's hard to track it and see when it's been used or where it's been. So as far as we can tell, it's been in operation for about 2 years, maybe a little more than 2 years, which means that potentially any of the services that use OpenSSL in order to encrypt have been exposed to this bug, and therefore the users of those services.
Heartbleed is a flaw in OpenSSL, the open source encryption standard. OpenSSL is what gives users a secure line to send information like email. Computers check to see if there's another computer at the other end of the secure connection, so it sends out what's known as a heartbeat. Hackers can send a packet of data that looks like a heartbeat but tricks the computer into sending data stored in its memory, like passwords.
The encryption software that has the bug in it is the most popular form of web encryption on the internet. So something like more than 2/3 of the internet that's encrypted is encrypted using OpenSSL TLS, which is what the encryption software is.
Big players like Facebook, Yahoo and Google have taken steps to lower the impact on users. And Google says people do not have to change passwords.
After the break, we find out more about the African Bloggers Awards. Find us on email and Twitter at SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter.
International relief missions, including South Africa's Gift of the Givers, are facing delays in getting aid and medical supplies to those without water and electricity.
It's proving to be a logistical nightmare for a South African NGO to deliver humanitarian aid in typhoon-hit areas.
Head of Disaster Operations, Butch Ong, says it's extremely difficult to get aid to people and that the situation there is dire.
Authorities grounded flights earlier this evening as Gift of the Givers aid workers were about to take off.
That's Primetime News, daily at 6 p.m. on SABC News.
Mercedes-Benz is all what you can expect from a lifestyle brand itself. We are about premium and luxury, we're about fascination, perfection, at the same time responsibility to our communities.
You know, my father was a musician and he loved music, he loved especially choral music.
Now as a person of color, you can't hit on her like, hello, nice.
Man, they were a great audience. No, I had so much fun performing for them.
Baby, I love.
That's Kaleidoscope, Sundays, 5:30 p.m. on SABC News.
What time is it? It's question time.
Your electricity has been cut. Do you not want your councillor to intervene?
I'd rather buy a generator. We will never be found among the protesters. We don't toy-toy, we don't complain about service delivery.
That's question time with me, Mpotsedu, Monday to Saturday, 5:30 p.m. on SABC News.
Welcome back. Now, the African Bloggers Awards team has done its shortlisting. They want to reward Africa's bloggers. These are people who document various aspects of life. In Africa, we've seen bloggers contributing to political change in their countries, like in Egypt. Recently, Google also rewarded people who use the internet to help themselves and others. Bloggers like Sitawa Wafula from Kenya were also rewarded for blogging. This shows that blogging isn't just a useless hobby anymore. Now joining us in studio to talk about the African Blogger Awards is Mari Leg. Hello and thank you for being a part of our network once again.
Thanks for having me back again.
Now, how has the process been like?
It's been very interesting. I think the most encouraging for us is to be able to see how many entries there have been. There's been over 500 entries, which also came together in a very short space of time. And we've been spending our time sifting through those and looking at what Africa really gets up to in the blog space. And it's been very interesting to see.
So how far along are you in the process?
So we're currently making our shortlist. We're going to announce the winners on Thursday in this coming week. So at this point in time, we're just going through our top 5 of each category.
It must have been interesting sifting through all these blogs from the African continent. I'm sure we're going to have some of them up in the minutes. I think we do have one up right now. But what have some of these blogs been like?
It's been very interesting. So I think the sort of general theme in terms of coverage has been along education of an audience. So a lot to do with health and food issues. And then also be able to discuss lifestyle and events, music and sort of general cultural events, which has been interesting to see.
All right. There's one up on screen at the moment. Can you just tell us about this?
So this is the one that talks about job opportunities. So it sort of highlights different economic times within different countries across Africa, and then points people to the jobs as a spin-off of it. So I think the article on today's script talks about oil and the creation of jobs in Gabon and Nigeria, and then links through to the companies that are employing. So good use of blogs to take people through to actually getting an upside in their job.
Geesh, I'm thinking you must have been learning a lot from all of these blogs.
Yeah, I think also interestingly is onto a lot of the blogs you go and Google at the top then says, this page is currently in Swahili, do you want to translate it into English? So very strong presence from Kenya and from Nigeria. So a lot of the blogs I didn't understand. I have to run the translation to actually get up to speed about what they're talking about.
Okay, and how's Google Translate?
It's actually pretty good, especially in Swahili.
Yeah, so you got quite a bit there.
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot of time. Did you find that it was a problem, the fact that you didn't have time?
I think it's gathered a lot of traction in terms of talkability online, such that people were very encouraged that we were having the African Blogger Awards and there was an opportunity for them to be showcased. So we did tend to find there was a lot of discussion on Twitter and our Google Plus and Facebook channels to be able to point people to actually entering. And then after that, we received a lot of entries.
Yeah, there's another one. Can you tell us about this? Do you remember it?
So this one, I think, just talks about there you can see Jumia on the right, the advert that you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
So this is a lot about lifestyle. There's a few blogs talking about for guys what they should do to be able to pick up girls, education around relationships, that type of thing.
Where's this one from?
This is a Kenyan-based blog.
Okay, so it's coming from Kenya. Jumia advertising in Kenya as well. So you've now narrowed it down to the top 5 in each category. Can you just tell us about the categories?
So we started off the first African Blog Awards quite wide. We kept it to 36 categories, and we hope to be able to have something for everyone in that. Some categories haven't been well subscribed, so we might not have particular winners for those. But then we have realized that there are some categories which are very well subscribed, such as your lifestyle, entertainment, music, arts, and so on.
All right.
And those are the ones that we think will get some of the best blogs through.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much, Mari Leg from the African Blogger Awards.
Thank you.
All right. And after the break, we chat to the innovation specialist in the technology department at the Reserve Bank. Stay with us.
You missed the Oscar Pistorius trial? Watch the update and highlights of key moments in the trial on SABC News Channel 404 every night at 9 o'clock and at 5 a.m. All local, all global, all the time.
There's been more gunfire in Juba, the capital of South Sudan. That's for a second successive day after the authorities there said they foiled an attempted coup.
Well, European Central Bank President Mario Draghi says the European Union's latest plans to wind up failing euro banks.
I urge you and the Council to swiftly set up a robust single resolution mechanism, a single system, a single authority and a single fund.
That's News at 1, daily at 1 p.m. on SABC News.
What time is it? It's question time.
Where are these 144,000 people? Are they only in the Jehovah's Witnesses?
To be honest, that is a question that God only can answer.
But you are more than 144,000, which means the rest are not going to the kingdom.
They are going to live on the earth.
That's question time with me, Mpho Tsedu, Monday to Saturday, 5:30 p.m. on SABC News.
You're still on Network. Now, Khulufelo Moyaba is the Innovation Specialist in South African Reserve Bank's Technology Department. The 3D animation designer's journey started when he was awarded a fellowship from the Ellen Gray Orbis Foundation in 2009. Khulufelo has also designed the Go Metro application, which is for the affordable metro rail that's used by most South African train commuters, rather. Khulufelo is in the studio to talk to us tonight. Hello and welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Khulufelo, how did you end up designing the Go Metro app?
Well, firstly, there's an awesome team behind Go Metro. So it's led by Justin Kutsia. And then, so it's a startup which started in Cape Town.
But they designed a website.
Yeah, so
and
they
you
started,
came in the app process.
Yeah, so they started with the website and they wanted to expand to apps. So that's why I got involved. I was running a business doing graphic design and applications. So I did the Android application.
And what goes into designing an app such as this one? It's because it's for public transport and something that's used by millions of South Africans.
Well, for me, I use an iterative approach when I design applications. So you have to think about the end user. You have to avoid assuming things. So when I design, before I even release, people see the app, they interact with it. Like, for example, I make the app and then I give it to a person. I don't tell them how it works. And then I see if they can figure it out. And then if it's intuitive enough, then I know I'm going the correct way. Otherwise, I reiterate.
Your work has taken you to other parts of the continent as well. Can you just tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so in my second year, I went to Namibia and I was doing 3D design work. And it was part of a PhD at the Polytechnic of Namibia.
It was part of your PhD?
No.
The PhD program, that side?
No, it was for someone else I was assisting.
Can you tell us about that experience?
No, it was a good experience. I learned a lot. Like, I was living with some German people. I learned a bit of German, so yeah, it was good.
Yeah. You also had innovation in the technology department at the South African Reserve Bank. How did you end up there?
How did I end up there? Well, I was recommended because I didn't apply for the job. So I ended up there, and what I'm doing now is looking at innovation and borrowing ideas from other fields and trying to apply them to the central banking environment.
At 21 years old, you have teams working under you. Can you just tell us about what you sit and discuss, especially in meetings as you're coming up with these ideas with the team?
Well, now we're still trying to sort out the teams, but what I'm trying to do is sort of convey my knowledge to them and help them or assist them in applying their knowledge, because in certain cases you find that they do have the expertise, but then they just haven't applied it to certain fields.
So what was the Ellen Gray Orbis Foundation Fellowship all about?
Okay, so Alan Gray Orbis Foundation, it's about entrepreneurship, it's about value-based leadership, ethical leadership. So it's a program which involves a scholarship, so they pay for our tuition and living allowance. But then through the whole program, they try and instill an entrepreneurial mindset, and you're surrounded by amazing young people who push you to just pursue your dreams.
Earlier, I said your journey started in 2009. When you got into this fellowship, did it start in 2009?
Well, that's where it got on track, because I got the motivation, because I started losing all my excuses, because you come there and then you have these wonderful people who are also young as you, and they're also studying and they're also doing their own things. So I started getting that motivation to also just go at it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Khulufelo, who is with the South African Reserve Bank. Thank you for being a part of our network.
Thanks for having me.
Now, we've spoken about the Free CXN campaign in Nigeria. Let's take a look at what else has been happening in social media. Many have been sharing their views on the release of the Samsung S5. Some like it and some hate it. Isafani is the latest Democratic Alliance election campaign. Some Twitter users have been using the phrase to refer to other matters of life. It means it's not the same anymore. This tweet says the Harlem Shake isn't the same anymore. This one says the festive season isn't the same without Brenda Fasse's music. And that's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. It's newsnetwork@sabc.co.za and email. In South Africa, we have 11 official languages. Imagine if we had to translate for all those languages. We leave you with Catherine Tate's 7 languages. From me and the rest of the team, bye-bye.
I need to find someone who can translate into 7 different languages.
Well, I can do that. I did a TEFL in my gap year.
Welcome back to London, ladies and gentlemen. This is Helen Marsh, who'll be our interpreter today. So, without further ado, let's address section 1.1, multinational profiteering for the financial year 2005-2006. Helen.
This is not my sandwich. Hurdy-gurdy-gurdy. Hurdy-gurdy-gurdy-gurdy. Gurdy. Bud. Oh, bud.